Well, well, well. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to the Rockford Ordnance, the greatest spot on the web for a firearm live stream. At least that's what we think. But hey, welcome back. I see a bunch of you are in here. I'm a couple minutes late, but hey, what the heck? Let's check in and see what's going on in KALASH chat here. Well, Chase Kelly makes it in first, followed closely by Joe Morgan in second. I feel like I should be maybe like a racehorse announcer or something. What do you guys think? Man, I got a light on me and I can't even tell I got a light on. I don't know what the heck's going on here. Anywho, let's make you guys a little bigger, shall we? What do you think? I think we need you guys bigger. There we go. Okay. So what else? Who else is here? Chase Kelly's here. Joe's here. MZ is in the house. Good to have you. True American Loretta. She got in early tonight. And Tommy Guns. What's up, Tommy? Good to see all you guys here. So I had a week just filled with, a lot of brass cleaning, a lot of brass prep. I got a ton of clean brass, but not much that's completely prepped. As we all know, in reloading, that's the big pain in the rear, is getting the brass ready. The loading part's the fun part, right? It's easy to clean too. I can run it through my vibratory tumbler with corn cob, or I can put it in my ultrasonic. I do both. I do the ultrasonic and then I polish it up with that. But cleaning primer holes and after you size it, cutting it to the length, trimming it properly, that's a pain in the rear, no matter what, especially 223. They're so little, it's a pain in the neck. Taking the crimp out on military shells, man, all of it. By the time you're done, it's like 100 pieces of brass. You're like, oh my God. But the easy part is loading it. What usually happens is I'll do 25 rounds or so, get it all prepped, and then I'm anxious to load. So I load 25 rounds on the progressive, and then I'm like, oh, gotta go back to cleaning. And that sucks, right? Because you could go much faster. So I kept promising myself, I'm just going to do all this brass, get it all done. And then when I want to load, I can just load 100, 500, 1,000, whatever I want to load, right? So I spent the last week just cleaning and prepping brass like crazy. And I've actually loaded everything I prepped. So I'm in the same spot I was before. I just got a bunch more loaded. But we did get some big scores on brass this week. We picked up a ton once fired. Some people were nice enough to leave it in a little pile for us next to the bench, and got all kinds of good stuff. So we're just going to keep on rolling with it. But we did get a couple additions that made things easier. You know, that progressive press at Dillon, they're kind of pricey. And when you see the videos on them or they show them in a picture, they show them fully equipped, right? This big, impressive press with this giant, what looks like a funnel on top and all this other stuff, case feeder and bullet feeders and trays and stands and handles, and everything is extra. So some of it's fluff and some of it's useful, but I figured I got to start out with the important stuff. So I had it mounted right to the bench that put it too low. So we got one of their stands, and that puts it up, 8 or 10 inches. And then that allows you to mount a bullet tray next to it. So you got a place to rest your hand, and you can just move like this. Boom, put the bullet in. And believe it or not, that is the handiest thing and makes loading go so much faster. With that tray, I don't think I'll do a bullet feeder. I think it's easier just to do it yourself, and it's so comfy and convenient. It's great. Roller handle might be nice. We might upgrade to that. But the one thing I'm going to do is the case feeder, because right now the most I can load in the case tube in 223 is 10 rounds. So every 10 rounds, I got to put 10 more cases in. That would be nice to have the case feeder. That's that big funnel thing up top. And it's electronic. It spins around and it feeds them all in there all the right way and everything. And that'll speed things up tremendously. You can throw 100, 200 brass casings in there and just go to town until you run out of primers, powder, or bullets, one of the three. But yeah, so about, I don't know, $100 for the stand, and I think $40 or so for the bullet tray. Handles about 50. We're going to get that. And the bullet or the case feeder is cheaper than I thought. It's about $240. So not too bad. I think we're going to go to get that right away. And yeah, the rest will be, so talking about cleaning and prep. Hardest part is trimming and deburring, right? So once I have that bullet feeder, which we'll probably get this week, I'm going to invest in a Dillon trimmer. It's a power trimmer, and you get a sizing / trimming die from Dillon in the caliber you're loading. In this case, 223-556. And the die is like any other reloading die. It goes in there, but this trimmer mounts on top. It's electric. It's spinning. And you size and trim at the same time. From what I understand, it trims so nice, it really doesn't need any deburring. And then there's a swage tool you can put in there, and everything will be done. So I'll basically have one head I can slide in and prep it all and go really easy. No more, my fingers are just blistered out from cleaning them and everything. It's going to be way, way easy. And that's really all I need for that Dillon. And not that I'm not flying with it right now, but those couple things, man, oh man, the thing will be golden. And then we'll get into 9 and I think 308 as well. Speaking of 308, so we were at the range Sunday and took a new friend of mine out. I met him through a friend of mine, and we've been shooting a lot together lately. He's new to the sport, and it's kind of helping me give you guys a little review. I think I'll actually, next time we go out, we'll actually do a video and show you the review on his rifles. He's shooting Palmetto States exclusively. He's got basically 3 of them. So he started out with a Palmetto State AR-15. He bought a lower and an upper, and then he got a 300 blackout upper and lower, and most recently purchased an AR-10 Palmetto State. Fairly basic rifles, but he's slowly been changing them and making them, comfortable for him. And all in all, pretty impressive rifles. The only thing I have from Palmetto is an upper. Let me think. Yeah, an upper. And, I haven't shot it a ton, but pretty darn good quality. I can't say anything bad about it. It runs great. It's actually like a 10-inch, I think, 10-inch upper. And I've got it on an arrow lower, and it runs fine. It's just a pistol configuration that I thought was cool, and I just don't shoot it that much. But his rifles, I've seen him put a ton of rounds through the AR-15. I've looked at it. Finish and fit is, I think he put it together for right around $400. And recently too, we're not talking, or anything. He found some deals and put them together. And have any failures with it when it was new, and him being fairly new, he was running it pretty dry, and it started to have just a couple weird issues chambering, but it was all because it was dry. Oiled it up and done. But he did break a firing pin on it, which was kind of strange. I've never personally broken a firing pin on an AR. I have on a Smith & Wesson pistol, but he broke this thing. The tip broke right off. Actually, it might have been on the 300 blackout rifle, but either way, same firing pin and all. He got a replacement. It's been fine. The AR-10, I gotta say, pretty darn nice. It's heavy. It's got a heavy barrel on it. Pretty darn accurate. He's been sighting it in. He's got, when you get into things and you're new, you do your research, you watch your videos and all of that good stuff, and you buy what you can afford and, what you, the best your money can afford and maybe what makes you comfortable. But he bought a couple scopes. They're Redfire or Redfield. They're not Redfield, I'm sorry. Redfield was a popular brand. They're like Redfire or something. And they're one of these, it's Chinese or made in China. And they're kind of combo scopes, adjustable power. They've also got a laser on the side, the typical stuff you see for like $99, whatever. And a lot of us steer clear of them. And he's going to upgrade them as well. But I'll tell you what, he put that one on a 308. And he had a little trouble sighting it in at first. And every time he came out, is readjusting because the mount is got one through bolt. There's not even two like you would see on most AR cantilever mounts. So you got to Loctite it and get it down there, but he's always tightening it and then it's throwing it off a little bit. But once it's holding it, it's shooting darn nice groups. He even shot it at 200, which he had never shot before. And, just ripping them off. I was listening to him over there. He's just bow, 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 bow. And shooting that fast and everything, 6-inch groups, nice size. For just starting out with box ammo, I think he had some PPU match, which he told me he had read it wasn't that great of ammo, or it liked to, I guess it wasn't consistent is what people are saying. I've had good experience with it, but, each gun runs a little different on different ammo. My gun may run like crap on PPU and his may run wonderfully, just depends. But all in all, nice gun, pretty impressive and accurate with good glass on that thing. Man, he'd be killing it. He had some really nice groups at 100. And so I brought my AR-10 out about 2 weeks ago, had a bunch of fun, and that was shooting great. And then I thought, you know what? We did some work on, I call it my sniper bolt action precision rifle. It's a Savage. And I've done a video on it. And I think on here, I don't know, a few months ago, we talked about it having ejection problems. So that's kind of a, standard MO for Savages. Their springs just aren't that strong and they just wear out quick, and they'll dribble out of the receiver. Sometimes not even dribble. They'll try to go out and fall back in. But there's a couple companies selling upgraded ejector extractor spring kits, and I got one, put it in, and it's working fine. So I had taken the whole gun apart because just cleaning, and I wanted to check everything out because we had put, quite a few rounds in that thing over the years. And I thought, well, we'll take it all apart. So I had the scope off it, hadn't been resighted in and all. And he's shooting 308, and he didn't have a chance to stop at the store. So I said, I got a bunch. I'll bring it out. You can shoot my reloads, and we'll have some fun. So I thought, well, those reloads are the load I developed for this rifle. We'll sight it in today and have some fun. So I took it out there, and believe it or not, I shot 2 or 3 rounds, like 4 clicks left, 6 clicks up or down, whatever it was. And we were right back on the money. And it's shooting MOA, possibly sub MOA, but real close MOA. I had a couple of shots that went through the same hole, and just having a good time, right? and then jumped over to 200, and it was shooting MOA over there. I was getting like 2-inch groups on it, and it's just such a nice rifle. I forget how nice it is. And it's got a cheap millet scope on there. I think the whole rig was under $1,000. I would like to upgrade the glass. I think the rifle deserves that. I'm looking at it over here now. We got a Harris bipod on there, and got a 10-round mag for it. It's just a great rifle for that kind of money. If you guys are in the market for a bolt action tactical style rifle, you can't go wrong with that Savage for the money. And any of the big box stores will stock it in 308 and 6.5 Creedmoor. I see a few others here and there, but those are pretty much it. Sometimes 300 Winchester, maybe here and there I'll come across a 338, but for sure 6.5 and 308. And how can you go wrong there? And if you're looking for a range toy to go have fun with and get you well out to, God, I've seen guys shoot 1,000 yards with these things. I guess with the right glass, and a little practice and all. I haven't shot it over 300 yards, I think was the furthest I've shot it. But it's just always on, I can't say enough about them. But getting back to that palmetto, I meant to actually call my shooting buddy here today or last night, actually. And what I had noticed was, because I'm collecting his brass, and I noticed it last week, I guess. The main body of the brass has all these striations in it and marks, circular marks, which I'm pretty sure are machine marks from when they machined the chamber. Now, I'm not sure if maybe he hasn't cleaned it yet or didn't clean it when it was new. It's definitely a little tight, because a couple times you really had to grab that charging handle and yank it back. And I know the shells are on the money, and I was actually doing it with the PPU, I think, too. But I'm not wondering if that chamber was either machined sort of rough, or why it's leaving those marks. I haven't inspected it, but I can't wait to inspect it and see. If he's watching, he's going to be a little disappointed. But I think I had mentioned it a week ago or so, but kind of blew it off thinking, well, he probably hadn't cleaned it, probably took it right out of the box and shot it. But even so, you would think after a few rounds that would move if there was some particles in there or something. But this is perfect round circles in the brass. Not too deep, not too bad, because when I clean it and polish the brass, they go away. But, mostly. You can still see them a little bit. So that's a bit concerning, but the gun's running. What the heck, you wear it in, right? I guess, I don't know, but I'm gonna have to check it out for him next time we go out and see what's going on in there. That being said, there's been, for some reason, I've seen a lot of videos lately on the palmettos, and a lot of talk about them. Some people talking about, well, some guns are so out of sight, that to buy a lot of things right now, it's like, man, stuff you used to be able to afford. It's like, man, that's now I got to save a little for that or whatever. But palmetto prices still seem to be good, and guys are using this time to kind of stockpile these as maybe backup stuff, or stuff you could equip other family members or neighbors or something with in some kind of scenario where you may need to. So guys are starting to put these things back, and why not? There's a lot of nice rifles out there. That AR-10, for instance, they even you can get it with a stainless barrel if you want. I'm not into stainless barrels. I'd have to paint them or coat them somehow. Yeah, maybe they're a little more accurate. But for that type of rifle, am I looking for that super crazy accuracy? No. And I just think getting something in a regular steel is probably the better way to go. But if you're looking for an accurate, super accurate rifle or something, they make all different variants in it, and they're not a ton more money. But been seeing a lot of videos on them, and then he happened to get these, and hey, how do you go wrong? He's upgrading the stocks, a couple other things, some backup sights, and he was forced to upgrade the firing pin, but get some better glass on them and whatnot. And it's always fun to customize a rifle too, right? So you have that. So yeah, we got our bolt action out. We got the AR-10 out. I was doing some work with the so my DMR rifle. I kind of call it that, but it's that rifle is normally you'd have probably an 18 or 20-inch barrel on a DMR, and I do on the 223, but that AR-10, I noticed for some reason I had in my head I had built that rifle on an 18-inch barrel. And I'm looking at it at the range the other day, and he asked me, "Hey, what barrel do you have on that?" And I'm looking at his. I'm like, "Holy shit! I built the thing with a 16-inch barrel." And then it dawned on me. I went, "Oh yeah, I wanted sort of a carbine 308." So I built that on a 16-inch barrel, and just kind of forgot about it. I always thought, I think it's an 18 on there. Somebody would ask me, but no, 16-inch barrel. And man, for 16, that thing is that's a great rifle too. 308 is one of those must-have cartridges, I think, in some type of rifle, whether you want to do an AR or you want to do maybe an AK platform like a Vepr or something, or hell, even a Tavor, something like that, an Ace. There's a lot of good platforms. And, it's like what I consider like a battle rifle cartridge, right? But today there's so many choices, you don't necessarily need that traditionally what we would call a battle rifle, some big, heavy, FN or something like that. And of course, you got scars and stuff like that. But an AR-10 16-inch barrel really kind of makes sense in that, right? You just want a little heavier hitting, get out a little further, still very accurate if it's built right. And it's a nice way to go. And yeah, that's why I built that. So some things, escape you. You're so many guns, so little time sort of thing. And you're like, all of a sudden, oh yeah, that's what I did on that thing. So either that or it's just CRS disease and getting old, Speaking of CRS Firearms, are you guys familiar with that channel? If you're not, you might want to be. We've talked a little bit about it here. His name's Matt Hoover, and he has sponsored Auto Key Card. A lot of you guys know about it. Auto Key Card got busted by the ATF, and they deemed his little Lightning Link card that he was printing a machine. So pretty big change in the definition according to the ATF, right? Well, he has found himself kind of in the middle of, he got arrested too for, I don't know if it was conspiracy or whatever. He was helping him raise money for his legal defense and all kinds of other stuff. And I can't say that he wasn't poking the bear a bit with some of the videos he did, but they ended up arresting him. And now it looks like he may be involved in one of the biggest ATF gun cases ever. Some people are saying it might get rid of the NFA. They are challenging or setting his defense based on the NFA being unconstitutional. And with the Bruin decision and all, it just may happen, guys. Not going to push it and say, yeah, this is going to happen and be this big cheerleader. But boy, if I was a betting man, it wouldn't take all that much for this to go that way and the NFA go away. I do think Bruin has opened the doors to a lot of this. I mean, just stuff just falling away. Now, we've got all these states and judges and governors and everything else just totally dismissing that the Supreme Court and that decision. You know, they're just going ahead as usual. Even had one judge, I believe it was in Colorado, who used the old way of looking at, what is constitutional as far as the Second Amendment goes, how judges have to look at the cases. And maybe he wasn't aware of this recent decision, or maybe he just decided to dismiss it and rule the way he rules. So we'll find out on that pretty soon what that was, if it was sort of an activist judge or not. But very interesting that what was a small channel just a year ago or so, maybe a year and a half, has blown up and now at the center of this huge case. And he's right here in Wisconsin. Just interesting how things go. You never know, right? It started out, his family owns a pawn shop, and they added an FFL, and just started out as any other gun channel, going through stuff. And I think he had SOT attached to his too. And he'd talk about different things that would really be illegal for most of us. We talk about full auto stuff and converting and this and that. And next thing you know, he's at the middle of this huge case. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Gun Owners of America tried to back him, but he had chosen another lawyer, and the money was tied up. But on their own, GOA was still working on the side, looking into things that pertain to that case and a defense and whatnot. And they kind of filled his lawyers in. And they were the only one, actually, he says, that approached him. NRA did not. A lot of the other groups, some followers tried to help him through GoFundMe. GoFundMe locked up the funds, and then they got another app or banking app or gifting app or whatever you call it. And so other individuals have been helping him. But as far as organizations, GOA was the only one that jumped in. So kudos to them. We all know they're a great organization. So yeah, this might happen. Pretty amazing. Let's jump into the chat here, and then when I'm done here with the chat, we're going to talk about maybe. So for you guys that are well informed on the AK platform, it might bore you a little bit, but this is kind of for the new person just coming into that platform. Not the greatest time to come into it with prices the way they are, but maybe you can help a new person or refer them to this live stream, and they can get some good info from it for buying their first AK and outfitting it, what they should do, how they should do it, and what makes sense, if they want to save some money, if they want to spend a little more, that type of thing. So we're going to go through some of that, and maybe you guys will have some recommendations for them too. And that's taking into consideration the cost today. I was right before the live stream, I was online looking at some pricing and what pricing is doing right now. And I've got an opinion about that we'll go through. which way we're going to see this market go, on AKs in particular, and a little bit on ammo, but we're going to touch on that too, where I think the market's going, where it is. Should you buy one now, or should you hold off a little bit? So we're going to talk about that. But for now, let's get into the chat and see what else is going on here. How are you guys doing? I hope well. Let's see. What's Joe have to say? Cleaning up the videos I hadn't got. My folks are doing well. That's good. Glad to hear it. I'm the online group's de facto resident gun guy. Large group preppers. Yeah, prepping may be a better place to put your money these days, huh? Might be, they always say, what is it? Invest in precious metals, tin, lead, gold, and silver, right? Tin being food and lead, of course, being bullets, right? Well, maybe you're better off putting it in the tin and precious metals. I don't know. Not so sure these days. Let's see. What's everybody got to say? Chase, continuing the joy of packing up our first home to move. Next, hopefully, closing all goes well. Yeah, closings can be a tricky thing, can't they? Sometimes you go in, they go like nothing. Other times you show up and, well, I'm going to have to do it next week. They forgot this, or this didn't line up, or this one's not agreeing to that, or the attorney's got something wrong, or you never know. They are a pain in the neck, and I don't envy you. I hate closings. Who else is in here? We talked MZ's here. Just trying to see if you guys are talking about anything interesting or just shooting a bull here. Racing cars of what? I need you back home with your family and your cats and taking care of your garden. Okay. How I saw racing cars out of taking care. Wow. I should put my glasses on for this, I guess, huh? Anybody got any Vepers? Huh? Certainly do, but none that we want to sell. I think everybody with a Vepr is holding tight right now. Although, if you had something to sell, my God, looking at pricing, just out of sight. Out of sight. It's such a shame. So what we're going to talk about is, do I think those prices are going to hold? Are we going to see them fall back down? Or they're going to stay where they're at? Not necessarily the new stuff that's on the primary market, but the secondary market stuff. What's going to happen there? Because, while a lot of that had gone up due to bans or not being able to get it or whatever, you've seen prices really go up. And, you're a collector. Are you an investor? I mean, firearms aren't a bad investment. I don't think I've ever lost money on one, ever. Certainly you can lose money on them. An everyday run-of-the-mill gun. You might buy it and a couple months later sell it and lose 100 or 2 or something. But, even those run-of-the-mill guns, if you hold on to them long enough, just through inflation, whatever, you should at least be able to get out at evens. And I don't think I've ever lost money on one. I've broken even, but I don't know. I think most collectors aren't in it from an investing standpoint. They're there to collect what they like, But then again, too, people talk about investments, guns being investments and all, but that's really a fine line. I think if you are in it truly for investing, that's a no-no, right? You need a dealer's license to do that by the letter of the law. That's not to say you buy a gun and, I don't know, 5 years later, let's say you decide, well, I'm kind of done with that and can't afford to lay out cash for this other one, I really want one. So maybe you trade it in or you sell it and then go buy that one. That's perfectly fine, like anything else. But if you're just purely buying for investment, or have a strategy maybe or something like that, yeah, that's something you may want to think twice about. So I don't know, but it's certainly, you're not throwing your money away. Put it that way. If that's your hobby, you enjoy collecting them, you buy them. Let's say when you're pushing up daisies, of course, your wife probably hated them anyways. So at least she's not going to lose any money when she goes to sell your whole Pride and Joy collection, right? You just hope that you didn't put price tags on them, or with a price that maybe wasn't so truthful, or you hope she didn't sell them for what you told her you bought them for, right? That's another old gun joke. Guy goes out and he buys a $3,000 rifle, and his wife comes home, or he comes home with it. The wife says, "Oh my God, another gun! Oh, that had to be expensive." "No, I only paid $600 for it." He kicks the bucket, gets hit by a bus next week, and the old lady grabs that rifle and walks in the shop, says, "I want to sell this, and I want $600 for it. That's what my husband paid." There goes $2,400 out the window, right? I see. Good to see you, Orion. So Orion Fixer must be in here somewhere. Alan Bishop, there we go. People are popping back in. Let's see here. There's Tommy. Josh H is in here. He's the one with the Vepers. Rockford the Brass Snarf. Yeah. I'm going to go back to that range and set up the camera just so I can catch that guy. Maybe I run into him. I don't remember what he looks like or if he was a regular or not, but it sure would be fun to catch him again. That was, God, I wish I could share that with you. I say it all the time. Alan Bishop picked up a Zastava Z-Pap in walnut. I saw a video of a guy who refinished or put a finish on his walnut Z-Pap. And most of the walnut ones I've seen have been sort of plain walnut, right? This guy happened to get one that had sort of a burl in it, and he did an oil finish on it. Oh my God. Talk about pretty. My God. Hopefully maybe you got one like that. But either way, the oil is going to make that wood pop. Really, really. The Zastavas in the maple, like mine, or walnut, and this burl one like this guy had, the oil really accentuates them. They're great guns to be able to make look really, really nice. Certainly, if you're going to change them out or put different stocks on it or something, save that wood, because, or while it's off, put a finish on it, mess around with it, see what you can come up with. There's all kinds of stuff you could do. You could put, like a true oil finish on it where you could build it up. I've always wanted to try that on some AK wood where it builds up and gets that super thick looking high gloss like the old Remingtons had. You can do that with true oil. It's kind of a neat finish. It's a hybrid of an oil finish actually, but some of the additives they add to it allow it to do that, but pretty cool. I think I touched on it last week. Some of the problems, all of a sudden I was seeing videos popping up on the Z-Paps and issues they were having. One guy had a bolt carrier break, all kinds of different stuff, and I'm like, But like I said, I think it was more QC issues and them pumping out so many damn rifles. I mean, God, you go anywhere and there's Z-Paps. You go on Gunbroker, there's tons and tons and tons of them. It's like the Wasser of yesterday, It just seems like there were more of those around than Wassers, although we're going to talk about it soon. There's a lot of Wassers back in the market for, let's say, for sure 21, maybe 20. the Wassers were hard to find, and you'd come across some onesie twosies here and there. And now they seem to have caught back up, and there's a bunch of them. There's even underfolders out there, which you didn't see any of for a long time. And I think if I was going to buy another Wasser, I'd probably do an underfolder. I have a penchant for underfolders. A lot of guys find them, uncomfortable or whatever, but I don't find them uncomfortable. I enjoy shooting them. I like the looks of them. They're compact. They're just kind of cool, right? A lot of guys, maybe it's a second gun because they, you can't. There's no side mounts on them, so you got to come up with another solution for putting an optic on them if you want to. On mine, I've always just shot them iron sights, but God, I love my M70 underfolder. I always stayed away from the Romanian, the Cougar one, because it's got the stock that slants down, but that's iconic in a way. I really need and want a Arsenal Sam underfolder, but the pricing on them is insane. They've got these limited edition colored ones, green, tan, brown. If any of you guys ever go on Gunbroker just for giggles, have you guys run across, it's an FFL, and I just saw it, I can't remember the name, but no matter what they have, whatever tactical style rifle it is, whether it's a Tavor or an AR or especially AKs, they've got what is, well, I won't say a higher end AK, whether it's an Arsenal or a Baril. Right now, they have some Barils on there, and they're asking $7,500 for them. They're brand new. And they've done the same with Arsenals. They do it with whatever they have. They add a couple things, a grip of this or that, and all of a sudden it's their specialty item that they do up, and it's just bolt-on stuff. And they jack the prices through the roof. And they don't have one on there. They've got 7 or 8 of them, and they're all $7,500, $6,500, $50, whatever the model is. They crazy prices. And it's not an auction, it's a buy it now. And I just wonder, does some guy come along and just pay that kind of money? It's absolutely insane. It's like, who in their right mind? I mean, okay, Burley, there's nobody with them in stock. I don't know if more are coming or not. I assume there are. But $7,500 because you put a grip on it and maybe a hand guard and some other crap. I mean, hell, I think the stock rifle in the box would be worth more factory than that is. And $7,500, obviously, I mean, 99% of us would be like, you got to have your head examined, But they wouldn't waste the money or put it out there if somebody somewhere wasn't bidding on these things, not knowing. Guy comes in and got more money than brains and says, "Oh man, there's a cool rifle. Yeah, $7,500." Can you imagine when that guy finds out what he did? Oh my God. I guess if they sell one of them, it's the equivalent of selling God knows how many, right? But just insane. Let's see. Orion, reloading is tedious, not for everybody. No, it's not. It's monotonous, but it's you know what? It's almost like a brain relaxation time sort of thing. That's how I do it every night. Just do a little bit. Lets me unwind from the day. Let's see. What else is up here? Alan Bishop shot the FEG P63 380 snappy. They are, aren't they? Whether it's 380 or 9mm Makarov, which is 9x18, all those guns got a little snap to them. They just are I don't know if it's, you would think being a heavier gun, it wouldn't, but I don't know. They just do. Speaking of shooting things, so I ran into a gentleman um, at the range who I had met once before, and we got to talking because I had some AKs out, and he was shooting an AR, actually a really nice AR, an FN, and we got to talking, and I had heard his accent and whatnot. I think he was talking to someone else, a friend, or maybe the first time on the phone or something. And I said, can I ask where you're from? I thought he was going to say Russia. He said, Bulgaria. And I said, oh, I've got a rifle here from your home country, And I said, what do you think of them, this and that? And he says, well, why would you want to shoot that junk when you can shoot this here in America? And I said, well, I guess we all want what we can't have, right? Or that don't have, or whatever. But he was really interesting to talk to. Spoke about, coming out of that Eastern Bloc of countries and everything, and how life had been and government had been in the past and whatnot. And he's a citizen here. And we talked about different subjects about all of that. And just enjoyable to talk to, and learned a lot, actually, what it was like over there in the past and whatnot. So we're shooting Sunday, and so one of these guys comes over and says something, and I said, where are you from? He said, Bulgaria. I said, oh, I met a guy here from Bulgaria before, last couple months ago, and I look, and he's there. This is the guy who brought his friends. Anyhow, one of them has family members that works at Circle 10. So he was telling me all about it. One of them was the guy that puts the gas blocks on, and others did other. They all have specific jobs, right? He had SLR 107 FR there, and it had. I'm trying to think. He had a AR buffer tube adapter in stock on it. Znitko short handguard. I don't recall what the upper gas tube cover was. I think he had a muzzle brake on it, a few other things, optic and whatnot. And he had been shooting that. And I said, hey, can I ask you how many rounds you got through that thing? And he said, well, he goes, I don't have an exact count, but it's got to be, and I think he told me between 9 and like 11,000 rounds, somewhere in there. Huh. Very impressive, right? Stamp gun, obviously. I've got a couple of them. I love them. That's one of my favorite guns. So there had always been some talk that Arsenal, while the stamp guns were built in Bulgaria, there had always been talk that maybe they were built by a different company or at a different plant, and just the Arsenal name put on them, and they were shipped in here under the Arsenal name. And some people had even went so far as to say, well, yeah, that's not quality, and they're really, sketchy, that in reality, you don't know who this maker is and all that. Arsenal, their flagship is their milled receivers. And sure, we all know that. And they build beautiful milled receivers. But for a while, I haven't heard it lately, but for a couple of years there was all this hubbub about Arsenal not making them, that they weren't actually made at Circle 10. So I was talking to him, and very interesting what you learn. Now, this is firsthand knowledge directly from that country, from people that work at that plant and know. And here's the deal. So it's very interesting. Again, some of you may know this. As much as I know AKs, and as many people as I talk to in the industry and all of that, you think I would have heard it before. Maybe I just didn't ask the question in front of the people that know, like maybe Krebs or somebody like that. Maybe that's common knowledge and we just never spoke of it. But you would think I would have heard it somewhere. But anyhow, he confirmed that the rifles are made at Circle 10. So they're made at the same plant, I stressed at the same plant, same manufacturing facility, same building, all that. Yes, they're made there. They were made for the U.S. market specifically, but they are made there on the proper tooling and all of that. The reason they're not producing them is that they had not purchased the rights from Russia. They were being sued by Russia or threatened to or whatever. And what he said was that Arsenal, Bulgaria, or Circle 10, Factory Circle 10, their defense to it is that it's not an AK, that it's an SLR. And of course, we all know that it's kind of a that those series of guns, whether it's an SLR 107, 106, 104, we all know that, yeah, it's a melding, right? It's not really a 100 series. It's not an AKM, but kind of a hybrid. You know, you got a 90-degree gas block. You got that barrel. There's certain things where it's kind of a hybrid of a couple series of rifles, right? So, you know, we didn't talk about the case or anything like that, or even I even mentioned it. I said, well, where would they sue them? In what court? Is there a world court, or I don't know. But yeah, that was their defense. So, I'm just thinking to myself, well, what would you say as the attorney in court? Would you be like, well, yes, it's an AK receiver. Yeah, it's made on the tooling and with the data package they provided us at one time, because obviously they produced them in the past, right? Early on, Russia did give them all the machinery and everything. They did give them the data package way back when, because they had been making stamped guns for a long, long time, right? 47s and 74s. So your defense is, well, those receivers, that's an AK receiver, right? Oh, yeah. And those are AK trunnions. Yeah. And they're, made on Russian tooling. Yeah. And those gas blocks and the operation and the carriers and the dust covers and the this and the that they're all made on that Russian, yeah. But it's not a Russian AK? No. No, it's our own design. See, we took this one and that one and that one put together, so it's no longer an AK. It's now an SLR. It's, one of those things. Who knows? They made them for the American market. They profited well, I'm sure. And I don't know. They must have had the licensing early on, right? Because when they originally started building stamped guns, they were even building them on Russian parts, right? Because they hadn't gotten their own part supply up and running yet. So Russia supplied them with parts. Matter of fact, a lot of them, I don't know that any of them had Russian markings, but Misha always said that they were, you could tell by looking, certain things led him to believe that they were Russian parts. And it would make sense. That happened too when the Chinese first started up. Their stuff was all that. And then once they get things up and running, they build up their part supply, whether that's the different forgings or castings or whatever. And then they start building on their own. But originally they're supplied with a starter set, let's say, to get it up and running. So that was interesting. So he said that's why you're not seeing them right now, because of that lawsuit. I have no reason to doubt what he told me. I'm sure it came from somewhere. And stories can change a little bit. I'm sure I lost some of it in the translation here, me telling it, but that was essentially it. But they are built in the same plant by them. all that good stuff. So it's not some second-rate, third-rate 2-bit AK company over there building them. It was, in fact, Arsenal on the Russian tooling and all of that good stuff with their data package, the whole 9 yards. So not to fear if you have an SLR. Some of those rumors you may have heard can be put to rest. I always equated that sort of to with the Romanian AKs, the stuff coming out of Cougar or Cougar, however you pronounce it, and a couple other companies over there that were, for instance, when you wanted to buy a Draco, you had to kind of look, was it a Cougar or was it made at this other company? The 9mm too, the NAC and the other one. One is good to go because it's made at Cougar, and the other one, maybe not so much. And that was kind of the rumor that had spread about the SLRs, or any of the stamp guns coming out of there. So it was very interesting to talk to them. They were all shooting ARs too. And the one gentleman that I met originally said that he had acquired a new toy and he had a Ace. And I said, oh, I got an Ace. I recently got the Gen 2 he mentioned Galil, and the one guy that had the AK, the SLR, he said, Galil, that's not an AK. And me and him looked at each other, kind of smiled. It's for all intents and purposes an AK. It's just made a little better, right? Upgraded a bit, like the Israelis do with everything. They upgrade things. They upgraded our fighter jets, stuff like that. But he had the rifle. I got the pistol. And I had really went back and forth about which one I liked. Love pistols. They're handy. They're fun. They're cool. But overall, if you had shit and get and you wanted to grab one, you're going to grab a rifle, right? And at the time, my dealer only had the pistol, so I got that. But God, I like the look of the rifle and everything. But I hadn't shot one. So he says, you want to shoot it? I said, yeah. So he had it set up perfectly. So, the Aces have the full rail on top and all. So you can mount whatever you want. You could do a variable optic. You could do a red dot, whatever. But he had primary arms. Ding, right up my own alley, right? You guys see just about everything I have is primary arms. I think for the money, it's the best case scenario all the way around. Obviously when you're not spending a ton of money, you may trade off features or quality. And if you want better stuff, you're going to pay more money. But they're a nice, happy medium. You get great quality, great reliability, and not a ton of money. Clear glass, all that stuff. And with the ACSS reticles that the owner of that company had developed, God, they're so handy. And he had one of their new prism scopes on there, 2.5 power, but the new generation, the smaller one, right? It looks like a 30mm tube, but it's a prism scope. It's got the ACSS reticle on it, and it's 2.5 power. And in my opinion, damn near a perfect optic for that rifle. It fit it well. It looked good on there, and it worked well. If there was any drawback to it, it was that being 2.5 power, it's etched too on the glass, just like the other ones are. You guys have seen my 3 power and my 5 power prism. I have a Gen 2 and a Gen 3. And I love them. They're great. And that 3 power, it's awesome. 2.5 gives you a little bit more. You can still use it for CQB and shoot 2 eyes open even. And you can with the 3 power too, but this being smaller was kind of easier in a way. However, with that ACS reticle on there, and I have not tested either the 1 power that they make with the ACSS reticle on it now and that 2.5 power. The reticle is so small that I think it would really be hard to kind of range and use some of the features that are on that. I think for a BDC, no problem, but really, really small in there. And I had not turned on the illumination on it. I was just using the etching, and it worked great. We were shooting at 100 yards, and I just threw a mag in there. Wasn't resting; it was standing and shooting and going pretty quick. Probably faster than I should have, because I'd miss, I don't know, every fifth shot or sixth shot or something like that. But not by much. Just a little one of these after a few shots. But I was shooting a steel plate, and just like the pistol, solid as could be. That gun is solid. It's a little heavier because of um, the handguard on it and all, but heavy in a good way. Heavy in the way that it just plants. It sits in. It's just nice and solid in the way that it functions, and the recoil impulse and everything else is just such a nice rifle. He did have the longer trigger on his too, which was a change for Gen 2, from Gen 1 to Gen 2. Gen 1 had a shorter trigger, and a big complaint by a lot of people was that short trigger kind of caught you halfway on the pad of your finger. So your finger be hanging halfway off, and it became uncomfortable. And that's absolutely true. Although I have a Gen 2, mine didn't come with the longer trigger. Mine came with the short one. Now, I don't know if they had a supply left and mine was an early one and I got the short one or what, but I am definitely going to send an email to them because I want that longer trigger, way more comfortable. And they said it came with it. So I know companies have running changes and whatnot, but hey, if you're advertising it, that was one of the reasons I bought it, actually. So then it didn't have it. So definitely makes it more comfortable. I do like the rifle, and his was 7.62. Obviously, probably the military caliber to have. What that gun is used in the military is in 5.56. But that would be, I don't know what I would do. I like 7.62. I'm all set up for that. I've got a 5.56 rifle, although I do think if I were just to have one, either the Galil Ace in 5.56 or the Sam 5 in 5.56, I think I would take the Ace in 5.56 over the Sam 5. Like it better, set up better. The stock is better for optics. The stock on the Sam, it was from the factory, is crap for optics. Just is. Doesn't line up. You need a cheek riser of some sort or a different stock, which I still have wrestled with, haven't found anything. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that if I'm going to get something that's comfortable, it's going to be an AR buffer tube adapter and some type of AR stock on there. That's pretty much the only way I'm going to get something to work on that milled gun. But on the Ace, man, that thing's set up. If you want to build a nice fighting rifle, like a go-to type of AK, that's an awfully nice platform to do it on. Really is. Can't say enough about it. It was a ton of fun and great to shoot. Let me get back in the chat here and see what you guys have to say. Joe, I really want an M1 carbine. M1 carbines are fun guns. I saw somebody shooting it was like a 1911 style gun in 30 carbine. And man, what a flash out of the end of that thing. That'd be cool. Kind of a cool companion to M1 carbine, and then that pistol. That'd be great. That M1 carbine, World War II guys complained about it, that didn't have enough power, didn't have this, didn't have that. But that's a pretty hot cartridge. I mean, it's right there with 357 mag, or thereabouts. It's moving out pretty good. It's a 30 caliber bullet or thereabouts. What's not to like? Such a light little package, very wieldy, great home defense gun with the right ammo in there. Man, why not? It's kind of a really do it all kind of package, man. If you want something, back in the day when they were cheap, wow, what a great rifle to have, don't have that hefty weight of the Garand or something like that. If you're comparing to other rifles of that time, why not? Man, great rifle. Certainly take a deer down, whatever you need it for. Let's see. Primary arms in the house, or Pennsylvania. Martin, is that Pennsylvania or primary arms? When I see PA, my mind goes right to primary arms. Isn't that funny? Let's see. I saw something else here. Bidding on a mint Bulgarian Mac and a Walther P1. Matter of fact, I had it out yesterday. My Bulgarian was unfired. Got it through a place called the Mosin Crate. If you've ever heard of them, they've got a channel on YouTube. And he does a weird thing where he announces like a batch that he got of surplus stuff, whether it's Mosin Nagants. I think that's when he started back in the day. Or he may have 10 or 15 Makarovs. He may have M1 Grands. He may have whatever. But he'll usually have, 10, 15 of them. And he numbers them all. And then he puts a video on YouTube. And he announces, what he has and what they are. And there may be varying conditions, right? One may have a scratch, one may not. It's surplus, one may have nicer grips or nicer wood or whatever the case may be. And he gives you sort of a preview. You get to see them all. And then you can go on his website and check out more pictures of them and kind of decide if you were going to buy one, which one you would buy. So let's say you like number 10. Well, he opens up the bidding like a couple days after the preview video. He'll announce that, the bidding will start on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. And I'm trying to think how I did it now. If it's an email or a phone call. It's one of the two, email or phone call, and it's whoever gets in first. And you should give them, like, if you only want, let's say you only wanted number 10, and if you didn't get number 10, you don't want a second choice, well, then you just either an email put number 10, or I can't remember if it was a phone call, leave the message, I want number 10 or whatever. And it's whoever got in first, whoever's email got in first or phone call got in first, I forget which. I may be dating myself thinking of old radio contests, but either way, if you have a second or third choice, you can put like 10, 2, 5. And if you're the first caller and 10's available, obviously you get number 10. If you're the third caller and no one's picked 10 yet, well, you get it. If you're the third caller and the second caller took number 10, well, you'd get the second on your list. And it goes down however many calls until they're gone. So, if you call in and there's 15 pieces and you're the 30th caller, well, you're probably not going to get it. And then he sends you an email saying, hey, you got this one. Send me your FFL and all of that. And it's kind of a cool way of getting it. He sets the price on them. It's one price for all of them, regardless. He may, if something's rarer or nicer or a desirable year, he may price a couple a little higher than the other. These will be 500, these will be 450, whatever the case may be. But interesting. And he gets some different stuff and neat stuff. And you'll see, maybe, a certain bit of surplus. Maybe 2, 3 years ago, there was a ton of it here, and now there's none. And all of a sudden, he comes up with a batch of them. So it's kind of neat. It's a way to come up with some surplus that maybe you didn't get to seize the moment when there was a lot of them around and they were cheap. Now maybe they're a little more money, but you can get one. And I haven't noticed anything crazy out of line. A matter of fact, less than most sources, like if you were to go to one of the auction sites or something like that. So it's kind of cool. And you can go back and look at his old videos to get an idea of the kind of stuff he gets in. So his channel's The Mose Crate, and even the introduction to his videos is very cool how he does it. There's a whole intro with, I think it's like World War II scenes or something. But if you never checked it out, check it out. And of course, if you're over there, leave a comment and tell them who sent you over there. But it's a cool channel, really neat. And one time he did have a batch of carbines, actually. Joe, someday I want to do 11.5 pistol version of my A2 carbine to SPR. Maybe put a binary in. I've never shot a binary trigger. A buddy of mine has one, and he's never shot it. He actually bought it from a retail gun shop, a large gun shop, and brought it over one day. He says, I want you to take a look at this. He goes, I don't know much about them, but this thing seems a little weird. It was an AR pistol. And he says, I'm not going to tell you what I think is strange with it. Just, mess with it a little bit, dry fire it a little bit. Tell me what you think. So cock it, make sure it's clear, all of that. And I'm testing the trigger and the reset and all this. And I'm like, that's weird. But it didn't dawn on me at first. And then looking at everything, and we didn't have much time. I said, it seems like okay. You did okay for the money, this and that. Then he brought it back another time, and he says, I want you to look at this. And he shows me, and he moves the selector, and there's another position. I'm like, I'm like, oh boy. So I start checking it out, and my first thought was, did this thing slip through? Did somebody do a no-no and this thing slipped through at a gun shop? But it wasn't. It was a binary trigger. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. But they didn't tell him it had a binary in it. They did not mention a word about it. Now, I don't know if they knew or not when the person traded it in or wherever they got it. But I would certainly imagine that a retail shop like that would have either pulled the trigger out and probably, right? Or B, had charged more for it because binary triggers aren't cheap. I don't know what kind this was. I don't know much about them. I haven't looked at them, and I didn't take the gun apart or anything. I did look in there, but I don't know enough about them. I haven't researched them enough, nor did I ever want one to know what I was looking at. But definitely a binary. But isn't it amazing that a retail shop let that slip through? I mean, if they had known about it, at a minimum, they should have told the customer from a safety standpoint, right? And B, they would have been charging more, most likely, because most retail shops are going to take advantage of an accessory of that type and magnitude, I guess, right? Or like I said, they would have pulled it off, and whoever the one employee was would have had a new binary in his gun, right? That's usually probably what would happen. But yeah, they didn't say a word to him. And this was a first-time gun owner. So can you imagine, had he taken that thing to the range and God, I'd hate to think if an accident happened now. May have caught it and guns pointed down range, no harm, no foul, and he figures it out. But for a new gun owner, there's enough to worry about, let alone that. And bad things could have certainly happened. Um, I would have. Now he's happy he has it. When he found out, he's like, "Oh, that's cool, awesome," But I think he only paid for like $400 for the gun or something. So the binary was probably more than that. Anyhow, let's see what you guys are saying. Josh H, my next gun is an M1. I kind of just want to get the wood furniture and not the M1A Scout model. Not sure. Yep. So not a grand. You want a M14 essentially, right? Springfield Armory, I would assume. They make so many versions of that. They got the loaded. They got a match. They've got the Scout. They've got all kinds of stuff. Nice rifles. They really are. I always kind of wanted one too, but just never fell into that. Yeah, the Bulgarian MZ, the Bulgarian Makarovs are nice. I did some videos on them, and the videos, not a lot of people viewed them. I've got a East German, which everybody touted them as best fit finish, nicest triggers, smoothest action, and they are. But the Bulgarian, some people say, oh, the Bulgarian's the best. Well, most people that say that, I found they have never touched an East German. East German, there's no question about it, is smoother, finer, everything's machined better, just is. But the Bulgarian is a close second. The Bulgarian, however, in my opinion, is a prettier gun. They all come in with different grips because that was part of the import law at the time. They would put either like a thumb shelf grip on it or a rubber grip. But at one point, some of them came with the original grip in the box, but they're easy to find grips for. But a Bulgarian Mac with the Bakelite grips on it, and almost every Bulgarian Makarov I've seen, the safety and what other part? Safety, the rear sight, I think, and possibly the slide lock lever are in the trigger, perhaps. When they blued them, they came out sort of a plum color. So they've got these couple plum colored parts on them. And then you put the Bakelite grip with the kind of a star in the middle and all. And the bluing is great on both of them. And they're just such pretty guns. So just, yeah, really nice. And what you were paying for those back in the day, when the East Germans came in, those were under $200. The Bulgarian ones were well under 200 when they came in. I think I paid 200 for my Bulgarian and 250 for the East German. And now I don't think you can touch a Bulgarian for under 500. And the East Germans, they got to be up there now, way up there, because you haven't seen any East Germans come in forever. So everything's kind of on that, I shouldn't say secondary market, probably a third market, right? Because they came in used as military surplus. But you'll just, for a while, it seemed any shop I wandered into would have one or two of them in the case, even when they weren't coming in batches. Like that East German, just found it in a case at a local store. And my dad found he found the East German, and yeah, that's what it is. He found the East German. No, he went in and he found, I got the Bulgarian from that Mosen guy, and he already had an East German from years ago when they first came in. And then he stumbled into a local shop and he found a Bulgarian. So he bought his, and then he went in there the next week, and they had an East German sitting there, and he got that for me. Uh, so you could, some shops, I was in a shop one time down in Florida, and I walked in, they had 3 or 4 different Makarovs laying there. And you'll see a lot of the Polish, people call them Makarovs. They're not Makarovs. They're a little different, but you'll see those, and a lot of the Russian commercial ones with the adjustable sights. I'd like to have a Russian Makarov, an original Milsurp Makarov, not one of the commercial ones with the adjustable sights. That would be cool. And get one of those, and then a Chinese. There's Chinese Makarovs too. Those also had the star grips, Bakelite grips. East Germans have a black Bakelite, but no star, just a checker pattern. Those are black Bakelite. The Russian, the Chinese, and the Bulgarian all have red Bakelite grips. However, the stars are slightly different on them. The Russian, there's a circle around them, and it's hard to tell. Unless you had 2 in front of them, you won't know what I'm talking about. But next time, if you run into one or one side by side, you'll be able to tell. The Russian circle around it is thicker than the Bulgarian circle. The Bulgarian circle is a tiny bit thinner. Stars are identical. The Chinese had thumb shelf grips on them, I believe. Yeah, pretty sure. I thought Bakelite thumb shelf grips. I have a set of those. Have a couple sets of Bulgarian grips and a couple sets of Russian grips. And I may have an extra set of East German. I think I just have one that's on the gun. But I put them all back to original, and they're so nice. And then when you're done with Makarovs, you can get into Tokarevs and have some fun with that too. Russian and Romanian, Chinese, all of that. Romanians being the roughest of all of them, really rough in some cases. Those are the only ones that I have. My dad has a couple of those. I'd like to find the others. I think the nicest Tokarevs out there are the Yugoslavian. The Yugos never had a Makarov, a true Makarov, but that Tokarev they make is just really a nice gun, pretty gun. I'm going to back up here in these comments and see where I'm at, because it jumps on me and I don't want to be redundant, and I want to get to all your stuff. Got a new knife, Blackjack model 1-7 with green micarta and A2 tool steel. Awesome. I love green micarta. I like micarta, period, but green is always pretty. I'm just getting everything now. Missed out on Zastava M93 Black Arrow 50 BMG, sold for $5,200 new. Were you trying to get one of those? You were going to spend that kind of money? Man, oh man. M1A Squad Scout is nice. It is. It's kind of cool. Originally, I wouldn't have liked that rifle, but that's grown on me, that one. And we'll talk about here what I've found in my research this week on what's going on in the market with AKs and all, and what's out there, what's not, pricing, all of that. I got a pretty good handle on a lot of it. It's kind of interesting. Gunsmith said Savage's so-called warranty was like pulling teeth. You know, I can honestly say in all the years I've been doing this, and all the stuff I've had, I have never once relied on a warranty on any gun. Any small issues I may have had, or even large issues, I took care of myself. Now, granted, if they were going to cost some serious money or something was way wrong, sure, I would have. But for instance, I'm That, you know, I had it quite a few years, and I knew that was kind of getting crappy. It finally got so bad it was bugging me. I found the fix, and the kit was $8 and my labor to put it in. I've taken things such as Arsenal, an Arsenal SLR 107R that was, you know, front sight, gas block, everything off, and driven the pins out, straightened everything, re-drilled it, put oversized pins in it, and good to go, rather than send it back. Sending it back to me, first of all, I hate trusting a gun going in the mail, and then to get it back to me, that can be an issue too. I believe sometimes you may have to have it go through an FFL again, right? I don't know. I don't think they can mail it straight back to you. And that being said, I've seen stuff and firsthand and heard other stories. You know, you send it back and it comes back worse than when you sent it to them. A new scratch and this and that. If they're going to give you a new gun, now you got to do a new transfer and all that stuff. Yeah. I've got one gun that is still waiting. I think this is going to be the first one that's got to go back, and it's a Kimber, actually. It's that Micro 9. I wanted to love that gun so much, and it just will not run. Will not run. And I've tried everything. Every factory ammo type, you know, some are a little different in length, this and that. Hollow points, round, just ball ammo. I can't get it to run. The mag falls out of it all the time, and no, it's not my hand doing it. The trigger does wonky things. It'll lock up sometimes where I can't even open the slide. All kinds. Just it gets worse and worse. You know, you hate to mess with anything too much, because if you do have to send it back, they're going to say it's your fault. So I haven't, you know, done anything like machining on it or anything like that, other than take it apart and clean it and check things and try different ammos in it and that type of thing. But it certainly needs, in my opinion, at least a mag release spring. The way the reset on it works, there's this little thing that turns in there, and I think that's part of the issue. That's got a bunch of big burrs on it. It's not right. I wanted to love that gun like a mini 1911 sort of, and yes, I know the trigger's different and all of that, but man, and it's the Raptor, the expensive one. It's like $1,000 gun, and it's unusable, absolute junk. Matter of fact, there's a mag for it. I've tried 7-round mags, 8-round mags, this, that, the other. None of it works. I would steer anybody thing on stuff. I can't really remember anything really much out of the ordinary. I had a Yugo AK one time that had some cycling issues, and just a little bit of work here and there, and boom. Different little stuff like that, but nothing major. I mean, I guess if parts broke right away, fine. But haven't had to do it, thank God. Maybe I just do enough research, know enough that I steer clear of some of the stuff that does have issues, and minor issues I take care of. So I don't know. I mean, on a bolt action Savage, what kind of problems should you have, really? I don't know. Let's see. Alan says his main issues with 5.56 AKs are the magazines. That's easily solved in one fell swoop, and that's by a SAM 5, because they're essentially Circle 10 mags. They work. They always work. They're perfect. But then, like I said, it's hard to find a stock that works well with an optic on it. So I told you guys I don't like the mags that come with the M90, the Zastava. Junk. Yeah, the mags, when I bought my Sam 5 online from the company, they had package deals going. You could get like 2 of their 20 round smoke mags and 3 of the black polymer waffle mags for X price. A bunch of different, and a muzzle brake with it for not out of line. They had tons of them, all different packages. So I thought, you know what? If anything's ever going to be the issue with this, it's going to be mag availability. And so I think I bought like 10 right off the bat or something. And that solved that problem. So I'm good to go there. Just got to find a deal on them. Those mags are around. They've been around different spots. I find them, whether it's online or at a shop. They're out there. Check out KVAR, see if they got any. That's where I got them. They always seem to have some stuff. I have hundreds of by 39 8K mags, too lazy to invest. That's why I never did 545. I don't know. Now I kind of wish I would have a little bit, at least dabbled in it, but I don't know. I've got an AR-10 I built with a ballistic advantage stainless barrel. It's fluted and has a matte black finish. 18-inch, shoots nice. Did that come with the matte black finish from Ballistic Advantage? That would be cool. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a stainless on one of those. But they get heavy too. It always seems I know that's fluted, but see, it always seems like anything they make out of stainless is some big heavy profile, you know. I got Atlantic's email. They are sold out what's sold out within an hour? The Jacks. I was looking at the W Jack Classic. I thought they said what was I looking at? What Polish that they said was coming in either late this month or next month, pistols and rifles. I'm wanting to get a rifle. I think they're importing them. I'm going to have to check it out. Maybe it was Arms of America. They're fine rifle, best AKM. Yeah, I really want a barrel. I don't know. We'll see. People there, no guns, and won't BS you. Roll it. What's in Roll It, Texas? It just jumped on me again. Hold on, guys. Let me find my place. I'm sorry I'm looking away from the camera. I'm just trying to read your stuff here. Version was sold out. Not only classic laminate available now. Okay. Serbian red looks good. Oh, I know the Jacks, right? Yeah, I don't know. I need a couple weeks here to catch up. We got a wedding coming up in a few weeks, and it has drained me. Two-head, they can't import them with the grenade cutoff in the original stocks. Why not? They did. Well, those came in as parts kits, the AB2s. Meant to say the Jack, maybe the Pierce AKM available. Magazines are the only drawback other than its M92 PA 3x K 1/3 riser, JMac custom, cheek riser, Magpul K2 grip, JMac. Looks like you got it covered there, Frank, man. He's got everything you need on there. I scored a Burrell 7.2 last night. Do you have any interest in it? Yes, I do. I want a Burrell 7.62 bad. I just need it to hit in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks or even longer if possible. Just got to move some things around, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I definitely have an interest, man. That's if I'm gonna get a Polish gun, that's the one I want for my collection. It's a little different. I like the rail over the dust cover and all that. It's just cool, something different. When it goes to AK variants, it's always cool. Back in the day, nobody wanted the dongs on a Wasser. You couldn't give them away. Well, now that's what individualizes that rifle. Yugos are individualized because of their, different handguard and the bulged trunnions, and then mold guns from Bulgaria and barrels from Poland. Something a little bit different. Everything doesn't have to be an AKM pattern or this pattern or that pattern. That's what makes it unique. The little changes, at least in my opinion. That's what I like. Bulge trunnions make a world of difference with recoil and accuracy. So here's my opinion on it. And I'm biased because my first gun was a Yugo gun. And back then, everybody used to bitch about, oh, the weight. Oh, God, the weight. Holy fuck, the weight. Jesus. I mean, okay, a little heavier barrel and some trunnions. My God, get over yourself. Do a few more 12-ounce curls or something. I mean, like they're out doing buds training with one or something, right? I don't know. But yeah, bulge trunnions. You know what I like about bulge trunnions? And back in the day, it hit me right away because my first AK was a Yugo M70 and my second one was a Wasser. And I thought at first, well, maybe it's just because it's a Wasser, but when you just, you're sitting there, you're dry firing or something, you rack that Yugo gun, heavier receiver, heavier barrel, bigger trunnions. It's just more solid, right? Rack that Wasser, and it sounds like the whole thing is one big dust cover, right? Clack, 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 all hollowy sounding. Just, they sound so cheap and tinny compared to, that's why I love Vepers too. It's just, God, they're just more substantial. Yeah, the recoil is a little better, all of that. Now, the one gun that, non-bulge trunnion gun that doesn't sound all that tinny either is an NPAP or the early ZPAPs on the non-bulged receivers. Those guns sound solid too. Maybe it's a Yugo thing. I don't know. But the Veper's the same way. And then again, the Veper's all by itself. I mean, if there's ever an argument for Russian guns being better than all the rest, it's a Veper because, man, it ain't just the bulge trunnions on that gun. It's everything. It's fit and finish. It's I'm sure as to how precision the rails are welded in or whatever. They're just way smoother. Way you could tell. You could blindfold me and put the gun in some kind of jig and just have me rack the bolt, and I'll tell you what it is just by racking the bolt with a blindfold on. I could definitely do that. I could definitely tell a Yugo from a Veper, from a Sam, from an SLR to this, anything Chinese. I could rack the bolt, and I bet I'd be accurate 95% of the time. Isn't that funny? Gabriel Bush, what's up, bro? Really enjoy your shows. Keep them coming. We do as much as we can. I've been buying around 500 rounds a month of Barnoul by 39. It's going to suck when all the Russian ammo is gone. Yeah, it is. Pretty much all I've been shooting are reloads. Not shooting steel case right now. A little bit. I think I got a case or two open. Maybe a case of Tula and a case of Wolf that's open. I'll grab some of that once in a while when I'm low on some of my reloads. But other than that, I bought up a bunch of by 39 brass. Just happened. Local Farm and Fleet. Not Farm and Fleet. Fleet Farm. Local Fleet Farm had a bunch of by 39 Winchester brass one day. I walked in, and they had it for weeks, months even. And every time I go, I buy 2 bags. And I don't know how many I have, but I got a lot. And it was hard to find the bullets at first. They're not 308 bullets. They're 310s. And you can find them. Hornady has them. I've been shooting a lot of Nosler Varmageddon bullets. The black polymer tip, those shoot really, really nice. And a bunch of Hodgdon powder. There's, what is it, CFL BLK, there's CFL black or whatever. Great powder, good bullets, and the brass. And the only problem is that a couple of the guns bend up the brass pretty bad. So I still shoot steel case through the ace, because the ace bends it to hell and the brass is destroyed. Or if I'm on like the 10th reload on the brass or whatever, I'll run that through it because I'm throwing it away or whatever after that. That bends it up pretty good. But yeah, the rest are okay on it. I don't have to worry too much. But yeah, been kind of holding on, and I just can't get myself to pay whatever it is now. I think 380 I saw, 1,000 for Golden Tiger, something like that. When I was paying 180, 160, 170 a case for Golden Tiger, can't get myself to do it. I don't know. I should pick up some more though. I have about 30K a tool. Had about 40K, but I've been shot a lot this year. Yeah, I know. I used to do easy 10,000 a year, and it's really. I say I haven't slowed down, but I think subconsciously I have with it. That's why I've been shooting so much 5.56 lately. I've been shooting way more ARs, Tavors, just other stuff. I did the same thing with 9 when 9 got scarce and I was reloading it. I'd buy 9 steel case by the ton, or hell, even when brass was cheap, that was I think I was getting that. I was getting S&B 9, either 115 or 124 for about 170 a 1,000. And I was shooting that up like nobody's business. Steel case when the price was up a little bit or something. And then when it got, when you couldn't get it, I just stopped shooting 9, I've been shooting a ton of 5.56, and yeah, I don't know. I scored a barrel. God, where'd you get the barrel? Who's that? Mad Ant 77? God, I'm jealous of you guys all with these barrels. I stocked up on 5.45 back in the day. Yeah, all that cheap 7 and 6. If you were into that, that was the way to go. 8 and 7.62. Yugo ammo. Yugo's great ammo. That's all brass, but it is a little bit corrosive. Yeah, it was dirt cheap. Think about it. I thank God I did what I did, but I should have even done more. Here, guys, here's a little tip. No matter how much ammo you buy when it's dirt cheap, when the prices go up, you go, God, I should have bought twice that or 3 times that or whatever. It's never enough. It's never enough. So you got to be kind of happy with what you got and go from there. Don't worry, there's another. Palmetto State is going to be selling steel case. Yeah, it's not going to be $160 a case, but I'm buying 50 cal if I'm spending 7,500. Yeah. Hey, there's 50 cal cheap during the pandemic. That was the only damn thing around. Sometimes 50 cal. Prices and scarcity showed up on some of these rifles. I think they'll get what they're asking given time. Squeaky, what's up? Squeaky's here. I'm out right now, so probably won't be chatting much. But well, good you stopped in. Thanks. If Finally made it. Another stream. David Ferris is in here. Cool. Good to have you. See, there's some new people. That's cool. Oregon AR-15. I truly miss my Ace rifles, but I hated those factory short triggers. Yeah, they are. You don't realize till you start shooting them a bit, and it's almost like the days of back in the old AK days when you'd get trigger slap. It just bugs you. It's not that slap that makes your finger numb or hurts, actually. It's just annoying, is all it is. I have a Mint Yugo M57 Tokarev. Yeah, those are cool. Alan's got some nice stuff, man. Kavar's Inner Circle really irritates me. I've spent thousands of dollars and still can't get the Plum Circle 10 mags from them. Yeah, when that stuff first kicked off, I thought I was part of that Inner Circle thing. Because when I call and talk to my one guy, I got whatever they had on the Inner Circle thing, they'd give me. But then I heard it was a special invite you got and this and that here up until about, I don't know, 8 months ago. Nobody bought more stuff from KVAR than I did, man. I'm sure some of you were up there too, but I mean, I was on a first name basis with the guys when you call in, and anything I wanted that I'd see, they'd give me. So maybe it was unwritten, but I never got the invitation/card thing and all this other crap. But I call and they give me what at least they have. I don't know about now, but when the Sam 5 came out and it was only for whatever, they gave me that and some other stuff. I don't know. I heard though that the new green mags and the new plum mags aren't the originals, that they're different somehow, or they're painted maybe. I don't know. Just dropping in. Hattori Hanzo worked late, in and out dinner, snagged a Yugo Mauser from 54 for $190. Wow. Nice. Nice ballistics, breeze fireballs, and surprisingly low recoil. Very cool gun indeed. Yeah, those Tokarevs, man, those things, that round is so damn fast. You have no idea unless you've shot one. Yeah, the Springfield M1A SOCOM. The SOCOM guns are cool. Those are cool. $200 East German Mac in 1992 is like buying one today. Yeah, you're right. Well, prior to this inflation thing, they were 400 already or 500. So if they're 400 now, that's still like 200 because guys, I don't care what they say, everything's doubled. It really has. It's such a joke. And now this new bill, the anti-inflation bill, all they're going to do is create more. I mean, it's just more theft. That's all it is. It's ridiculous what's going on. And now the little raid and all this other fun stuff. Isn't that all great? Isn't it wonderful? Who gives a fuck about better accuracy? Said no one ever. Peppers were amazing. Yes, they are. I should shoot them more. I don't because, the things get collectible. I got this little subconscious thing that affects me. Like I won't shoot ammo when it's short. And it's not that I don't want to or I give a shit, but something in the back of my mind must steer me away from it. We're going to do a Vepr video. I don't think I've ever thrown a magnified optic on one of my Veprs. I don't think I've ever done that. I think I might have to really prove out the accuracy on these things. Just really am looking forward to when we get things calm again. The collector in me had to find a Plum Circle 10. I've got a SLR 107R that came with plum furniture. And I thought, I'll get a plum mag. Well, first thing I did was take off the plum furniture and all that. And that's sitting in a box somewhere that just in case, whatever. One day all that shit will be collectible. Trust me. It may not be now because you can go on K-Bar and buy a set of plum furniture or whatever. But one day, the rifle that came from the factory with the plum furniture and says so on the box that you saved, will be worth more. I have every box that came with every rifle and every original part on. If I happen to change it, I have all the original stuff. It'll go all back in the box and it will be what it'll be. Think about how many Chinese guns were butchered up back in the day. And one day they'll be saying it about Wassers, believe it or not. Oh man, you got a Wasser with a this and the early Wassers when they were crap. Yeah, those things are worth a fortune now. Mine was all black and I made it plum with a cheese grater. Yeah, mine's got all the plum furniture. Um, I have a 500 round supply that's always for just home defense. Yep. So let's talk about the market and what I found. I lost most of you guys but the core guys anyways. There's only 9 of you in here now. I don't believe that counter. It's never right. All right. So lots of Wassers around. And most are under $1,000. Gun brokers hitting as high as 1,000 or a little over, but I'm sure that means you can still find an $800 one out there somewhere. Certainly a $900 one. Tons of ZPAPs out there, all around maybe $890 to $1,100, depending where you're getting them. There's tactical ones, there's walnut ones, there's maple, there's all kinds of crap. There's M92s out there. There's M90s out there. I even saw a couple, their version of the PSL. What the hell is it? The 7.6 2x54 gun. I saw a couple of those. Those weren't bad. About 2,500, 2,700. I think that's what they were originally. There's some of those out there. I did see some. I told you Wasser underfolders, a bunch of those out there. So we must have got a batch in, and they weren't bad. They were in that same price range. Draco, saw a few Dracos well under 1,000, like $899 for a standard Draco. That's when they were a dime a dozen all over the place. I don't know, but that's a perfect gun to SBR. Perfect gun to SBR. Pre-made, why not? .308 Ace. Krebs gave away a .308 Ace in a benefit thing he did. That would be a neat gun in .308, wouldn't it? I agree. Anyhow, so I'm hoping maybe we'd see some batch of AES 10Bs or something. If somebody's looking for one, there's one on GB right now that seems like it might not go too bad. So if you're looking for one, maybe you want to go on there, check that out. What else? Big supply of the Arsenal underfolders in all the bullshit colors. If you want an all plum one, that's got to be ugly as sin with everything all plum. I don't know. I'd have to see one in person. There's the flat dark earth. There's some black ones finally. So those are out there. But again, $2,700. That's a lot of dough. I don't know. But I really need one. But I told you about the Barils, that one company with the $7,500 guns with a couple They put a grip and a handguard and call it whatever tactical edition, and they ask $7,500. Does anyone buy those guns? Are they insane? Are they just wasting their money on the auction site listing them? I mean, my God, who the hell buys one of those? What a joke. What else did I see out there? You know, I still want another. I got rid of one of the few guns I got rid of. I got rid of my OPAP, and I want an OPAP. And you might say, why? You got a ZPAP. It's the same damn gun, you know? Why do you want an OPAP? But no chrome line barrel, century gun, this and that. Well, because the OPAP was the first nice one, you know, and I want one. And most of them had military wood on them. Or wait, I'm trying to think if mine had. No, I put military wood on it. But it's an OPAP. And I can put a grenade launcher gas block on it. And essentially, I've got a perfect representation of that gun. I just want one. I don't know. Got an NPAP, got a ZPAP, got the Sentry Guns M70 AB2s. OPAP would be a nice little filler there. And then maybe grab a couple Mitchell things. I saw some deals on some Mitchells lately where the prices aren't too bad. I did see a SGL 21 under $3,000. Then the usual craziness, you know, Chinese guns are what they are. Those guns were up in that range beforehand. Compared to other stuff now, they seem affordable, you know. If I were a guy looking at guns in that 3,000 plus range, before I grab some of this other crap that most assuredly is going to go back down, I'd grab some Chinese guns. Maybe find yourself a Spiker or something like that. Why not? They've proven the course. They're at the price they were pre-pandemic. Why not? Vepers are all but crazy. I might buy, well, if you had the Vepers and we're going to spend, if you were going to spend $4,000 for a Veper, I don't know. I might go do the Chinese, you know, and forgo the Veper for an SGL or something. I don't know. You know, the Vepers were really not, that was a gun made for the American market. Yeah, it's Russian. Yeah, they bring big money. Yeah, they're beautiful rifles. But at the end of the day, if you're the collector that looks for military pieces, why not spend the same on an SGL, in my opinion, you know? Now, I didn't pay SGL money for those, you know, back in the day, 800 and 1,200 maybe for the Vepers. I don't know, something like that. Imagine if you could buy a Veper right now for $1,200. How many would you buy? Bulgarian parts, still crazy. 4-piece flash hiders, mags, you know, colored mags, the rare little pieces. Crazy money. Are these prices going to hold? Well, Wassers are holding steady, it seems. You know, will Century raise the prices on them? I don't know. There's probably enough stock out there that the pricing will hold for a while. The Yugos, you know, what were ZPAPs when they first came out were like, I think MSRP was $6.99 or $7.99. But remember, that was non-chrome lined and it was not the bulge trunnion gun. So once they did those, they were in that $8.99 range or so at the lowest. So if you're getting them in that 900-ish range or high eights, 900, that's a gun that's priced right. So Wassers and ZPAPs, that's your go-to gun if you're getting into this now. take your choice. I think affordable wise for, a guy that doesn't want to spend a ton of money, that's your only choice right now. Primary or secondary market, because anything else is well over $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. You're just not going to touch it. You're just not. Maybe a Fox, maybe. What are they getting for those? 1,500 minimum. I think under $1,000, the only thing you're going to find are Z-Paps and Wassers. So as a guy getting into it or wants a shooter or just a representative of the platform, that's where you go. You can equip both really nice. You could obviously take a Wasser, and first thing you're going to do is get a side mount and some type of optic. Don't waste your money on the cheap stuff. Wait till you can get or find an RS Regulate. Get an RS Regulate on there. Put a red dot on there, a Holosun or a primary arms, or get a variable optic primary arms on there. Furniture, the sky's the limit. You can put some of that on there. Get a decent muzzle brake on it, and maybe later you want to mess with a handguard or something like that. Throw an ALG trigger in there, and you're good to go. You can still do it at what you were doing 4 or 5 years ago on one of those guns. Hopefully your addiction stops there. If it keeps going, well, be prepared to, spend money that was not all that long ago. You could get a nice HK collection going for what you're getting a AK collection going for. Yeah, AK now equals HK pricing, right? It's not a good thing. Do I think these prices are going to hold on the other stuff? Well, supply is up on just about all firearms. You can go in any store and find a lot of good stuff, right? Maybe not that niche stuff we're talking about, meat toys, right? Certainly ARs and Israeli stuff and any domestically produced cool stuff. Plenty of Turkish tactical neat shotguns out there. A lot of stuff to get in and have fun with. So will these prices hold? ARs are still cheap. So ARs are the buy right now. What's as anything? Probably the higher quality stuff, right? Factory guns, not kit guns that are either built by you, or I would even say uppers and lowers put together are not going to be the collectible stuff. Colts, Daniel Defense, all Geisley, all that stuff. And you say, well, that's not all that affordable either. But it's still less than all these AKs that are in that $4,000 range, that stuff will be collectible one day. So maybe you want to switch over to that. Some of the clone guns that Colt made and different stuff like that. But I'm saying stuff now, even the stuff a couple years ago, the clone stuff is already up there in price. Maybe if you can find some demilled stuff, parts kits out there, that stuff will be worth some money, or go up in value. Different stuff. You just gotta, the market switches, but I don't think, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think Vepers are going to hold at $4,000 and $5,000. I just, maybe they will, but as a fan of the platform and wanting other people to enjoy it, I hope those prices don't hold. I mean, I'd sell them and get all that money. I don't know. It's not about the money. It's about enjoying it. And You know, could you buy it back for that? I don't know. Um, yeah, that 5 grand you get today may be worth 2 grand tomorrow, you know? So I'd rather keep it in what I enjoy. Uh, I don't know. I do see inflation getting worse. That would certainly keep driving prices up, but that's a different kind of uh, driving force, right? Just the value. Is the value going to stay there? I don't know. I don't know right now. As long as Bulgarian guns keep coming in, I don't see the value on some of those holding at what they're at right now. I just don't see that. If they keep coming in, you know, if they don't keep coming in, they get banned, this, that, the other, of course, value is going to go up. But you know, if you got Yugo guns out there and Wassers and maybe even some of the Polish stuff, sub 1,000 or sub 2,000, how are they going to justify a $3,000 arsenal? I don't know. That quality isn't that big a jump. It really isn't. Some guys will say, well, milled. Oh, okay, yeah. But the milled guns were at one point, you know, 1,000, 1,200, 13, 1,400 in there. I don't see them holding double that or triple that. I just don't, unless something were to happen, right? You know, you've got Sam pistols that were $899 3-4 years ago and are now bringing over $3,000. There's more of those will come. It's okay. So why are they at those numbers? I don't know. It's not costing them that much more to produce. And inflation will eventually turn. Does it drop all the way back? No, but it certainly drops some. I just don't foresee it holding there. I don't know. We'll see, I guess, you know. Will ammo stay where it's at? Well, it's certainly dropped. It's not sub $200 a case 7.62, but you're in the threes. And before all that super low ammo hit, you know, prices were there before and they managed to drop. Guys, when supply catches up and these the shops and the wholesalers and the distributors, it starts stacking up, prices start dropping, you know, because you got to keep the machine moving, right? So prices will start dropping. Do I think they'll go back to those prices? Obviously, no. But I would think you might see, now, steel case certainly isn't going to drop. But let's compare, 5.56. You know, it wasn't long ago when it was 700, 1,000. Then it was 650, then 600. I think the best deals I saw out there were between 400 and 500 a case. You know, it'll drop from there. It'll get down. It won't go to what it was before, but it'll be there. And it's certainly not going to be some of these prices that we got used to. I don't know. I mean, look at pistols. Your average domestic pistol. Prices really haven't went crazy on those. It's all about, there's still a craze. And you've got all this legislation in the works. And every video on YouTube is about the 2A legislation. And that's still pushing that market. While ARs, there's still a glut of all that stuff. AKs, not so much, right? But it'll all come back down. Yeah, I don't think it's going to stick there. Would I go buy a $4,000 Vepr right now? No. Would I pay $3,000 for an Arsenal? No. Right now, you shift your funds or your collecting to what maybe hasn't changed. And you may say, well, but that's just run of the mill, or that's this, or that's that. Well, then search out those domestic things that maybe just didn't make a ton of, or certain variants, or um, something that has a military connection, M17 pistols, what are those going to do down the line? Either the ones that they did, those used to be everywhere. Now all you're seeing are black ones and different variants of this and that. There's stuff that still will be worth money. The Colt revolvers right now, yeah, they're pricey, but they're not AK pricey, right? Those are going to be worth money. Start putting some of that stuff away. Maybe look for the 1911, the last one they made for the Marines. Those are still out there. Yeah, they're up there, but they're not up there like AKs are. AKs aren't the buy right now. They just aren't. Sure, there's deals to be had out there. Sure, if you want one, grab it. But it's certainly not the buy. There's other stuff out there that is. You just got to find it. Switch your interests a little bit. Just because you're an AK guy doesn't mean you've got to spend stupid money. Move your money smart and shoot what you got. Enjoy what you got. Be patient. Wait for deals. You'll find some, and you keep going. So that's all I can tell you, man. That's all I can tell you. Maybe search out some rarer parts kits. Parts kits are expensive right now, but there's plenty of guys that were into the AK scene back a ways and had kits they stockpiled to the bejesus because they were so cheap. And they're older. They're not all that internet savvy, and they may not know what some of this stuff's worth. So, always be trying to make connections and finding stuff like that. You never know who you run into that says, I used to mess with those in my garage back in the day. I probably got 10 of those sitting in the closet. Yeah, give me 200, 100 a piece for them. It happens, guys. It happens. Because when AKs first hit the scene, and the guys that were buying them back then, it wasn't an internet thing. It really wasn't. And now those guys are older, and a lot of them are even aged out of the gun show scene, or a lot of their buddies have fallen by the wayside, and they just don't know what the stuff's worth. And you can find some deals. That's what you got to look for. There's guys that had collections that were serious collectors of other stuff, and back in the day bought a Chinese rifle or two. And they've had the same one sitting in the safe forever. They never followed it. They don't know what they're worth or even what they got. They just got one. And you hear from a friend that they want to get rid of it. It happens. Is it common? Probably more often than you think. There's still arms list deals out there. You just have to be quick on the draw and be catching it constantly, and be ready to run, literally run with cash in your pocket. Leave work, be there in 3 minutes, boom, and there's the deal. Those happen every day. It's just how quick can you find them, that type of thing. Guys that work in gun shops will tell you all the time, the stuff that walks in the door, there's at least one day a week when their jaw hits the ground, and they got to get themselves together real quick. So it's hilarious. I want to do a gun shop interview with some of the guys and have them tell me their best stories of what came walking in the door the cheapest. There's a lot of good stories there, boy. That's where it pays to be an FFL. You get all that good stuff. That stuff never hits the shelf, man. Never hits the shelf. It's down. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll retire and get a gun shop job just to... you never know. Anyhow, that's what's out there, guys. I'm trying to think if I can steer you guys in any other direction. Think of other stuff. While it's not cheap, Bren's, Scorpions one day, guys, going to be worth anything. There's stuff out there uh, that'll be, yeah. What no million years, 30 years ago, thought a Chinese AK was going to be worth anything. There's still that stuff out there. You just got to find it. Um, you know, you don't have to spend your money on a B&T. Yeah, sure, those will be worth crazy money one day, but there's other stuff that's still out there, still available in that affordable range that one day will be worth something. It won't be a dime a dozen. Who knows? Maybe the NFA goes away, guys, and all of it falls on its face, right? All this stuff, play toys. We got switches now, right? Maybe. Who knows? God, I feel sorry for those guys that spent all that crazy money on stuff, and all of a sudden you can go get yourself a little rat-tat-tat, and yeah, the bottom falls out of all the rest of it. There'll be guys crying in the streets. Oh my God. It might happen. You never know. That being said, look at the price of some of these things and then go look at an HK. Go get yourself a SP5 or go get a PTR or who knows what else. All kinds of cool stuff. Yeah, it's all out there. It's all fun to experiment. Buy what you can afford. Don't buy over your head. Buy smart. Look for deals. And at the end of the day, a bunch of years from now, you'll sit back and you'll enjoy them the whole way there, and you'll have a great time. Never say never. Do I think the AK platform is dead from an everyday shooter perspective? By no means. There's still choices out there. There's nothing wrong with a Wasser, and there's certainly nothing wrong with a Z-PAP. Get out there and have fun. Grab some. Grab a Draco. Grab a mini Draco. Still affordable. Are they as cheap as they were? No, but they're still affordable. Grab some. They'll all be worth money one day. And it ain't about that. It's about having fun and having some cool stuff. This is still the best time in history for all of this stuff. We didn't have this even back. It just wasn't there in the late 70s, 80s, early 90s. It just wasn't there. There weren't the options. There weren't the aftermarket. There weren't all these manufacturers. So it's still the best time. It is the good old days right now. So anything you buy is cool. Think about the choices you have in a pistol caliber, little sub gun or carbine. You didn't have that in the day, you know. Look at an AR-15 for $400, a decent one for 600, and a nice one for 1,000, and of course it goes on from there. Who would have thunk? You know, I've said it for 2-3 years now that it's the AR's time to shine as far as deals go. One day people would be going, "No way, you paid 400 for a Palmetto State AR." I don't know. Hey, maybe KUSA, right? Not a bad gun. A lot of nice choices. Pretty cool shotgun, too. They got at least one model I'd like to have. Pretty neat. Hey, Vepr 12s. Check those out. Segas, I see those coming around, shotguns here and there. Not doing the money I thought they would do, you know. Get yourself some of those. Have some fun with that. Nothing wrong with a shotgun. You can have a great time at the range with that. Shoot some shots, shoot some slugs. Slugs are a blast. Hey, if you're worried about prices going up, grab some optics while maybe you can still get them cheaper before all the supply stuff doesn't hit, you know. It's always a good time to buy that stuff. Mags haven't gone up. Buy some mags. There's always ways to spend your money, right? And stock up. So Uh, hell, other ammo's going to come down. You'll see all this stuff. 38, 357, 45 has come down quite a bit. Matter of fact, we're going to be shooting a bunch of 45 this week. I'm going to go out and crack away with the 1911s and have some fun. I love shooting 1911s, so why not? We'll get out there and mess with those. Ammo's come down. Is it dirt cheap? No, but it's not that crazy money you saw. Look what 45 Colt was doing. $60 a box, $70 a box. Got to have your head examined. That'll come down too. Don't worry about it. It'll come down. What I find amazing is that people are still tossing their brass on the ground, not picking it up. Amazes me. Whether they reload or not. A lot of guys just don't want to store it, don't want to mess with it. I get it. But it's money sitting on the ground. Remember that. Orient Fixer, I'm done buying guns. I have nobody to leave my meager collection to, and cringe to think of the government grabbing them. Yeah, you're right. Unfortunately, most of my motivation was to leave them to my son, and I got nobody to give them to. I do have a nephew who enjoys them, and he'll certainly get some. But yeah, maybe a son-in-law, So you never know. Life changes. Maybe a grandkid, That's a grandson for sure, I'm sure. But it's funny the way things twist and turn. You never know. What you think is going to be normal and today forever is completely different a year from now. Yeah, you never know. So hold out hope. I think we're in a very good position, guys. A lot of good things have been happening on the 2A front. Cross your fingers. Hope November goes well. Hope all this stuff with this raid goes well. Hopefully it played right into his hands, and we'll get some people in there that can stop all this craziness and get things back on track. Do what you got to do. Keep making the calls, keep writing the letters, go in their office, talk to them, get the word out, change somebody, bring them to the range, introduce them to the sport. There's so many people out there now that, because of all the stuff that went on, are now firmly planted on the pro gun side. That were maybe for sure even anti-gunners are now on that side. They realize that they need to be more self-sufficient. They need to take care of themselves, and that help ain't coming. I never understood that. Living rural like I do, help could be 20 minutes away or it could be 45 minutes away. Even in the city, you live in a big city, help is not 30 seconds away. Maybe it's 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away, but they're 10 minutes, they're going to pick up the pieces. There ain't nothing left. It's over with. You got to, more people are realizing that how quickly things can happen and escalate, and just how long it takes for help to get there. That's all. Good guys with guns. That's it. Be the good guy. That being said, with all this other crap going on, I'm glad to see everybody keeping their heads. There's always a nonviolent solution to the problem, and that's the best way to keep it, right? Way too much paperwork the other way, way too many fees and things and defenses. And, my father taught me when I was going into police academy, get there just in time to pull out your pen. That's a funny saying, but and obviously when someone needs help and you're in that position, you're not, that's not goal. What I'm trying to impress upon you is you don't want to go through all that. The last thing you want to do is have to defend yourself in a situation like that. Now, at that point, life or death, of course, you have to sometimes. But as far as this other stuff, goes, elections and all this craziness. That's worst case scenario too. You don't want that. Ask anybody that's been in a country with upheaval and all. You don't want to live through that, guys. You don't want to go through it. There's many, many, many more ways to solve the problem through using your brain, using your voice, and getting together with like-minded people to make change. Maybe run for an office yourself. Start local. They're the most important. Join a school board. Do something. That's where it starts, with the states, not there. You'll get there eventually, but it's got to start here. You got extra time on your hands. You don't like what's happening. You don't like what you're seeing. Then do something about it. Do something about it. It's the only way you're going to make change is you make the change. That's it. You know, I often wonder about, you talk to people, you run into people on the channel, people who watch videos, people that comment. How many actually have a membership to GOA? How many actually have an NRA membership? How many? You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked if everybody had to prove it when they drove into a shooting facility or went to a range or whatever. Yeah, you'd be shocked. There'd be some guys with egg on their face, that's for sure, because they're more worried about buying the latest and greatest this than to give just 1/20th of what they spent on their last gun to somebody that might just help keep their rights. It shocks me. It shocks me. Anyhow, hey, while I'm at it, don't forget the super chat down there, right where you put the comments. There's a little $sign. You can throw some money our way. It helps go to the channel, help support it, and do the things we do. That being said, guys, we're at the 2.5 hour mark. I'm going to say good night. I'm going to check the chat here real quick, see if I missed anything. I was looking for the new Ruger Marlin 4570. God, 4570 is such a cool cartridge.